Dave, thanks for being here. Been working with Dave for over 2 years now. Not only going back and forth on the business stuff, but having him be my personal trainer. So it's been a blast to watch his business grow and his areas of expertise here when it comes to the way his brain works. These systems, he knocks it out of the park. I don't know how he does it. And so that's why I invited him here today so he could share some of his expertise and on the system side of the business, how to really get this going. So he'll be speaking specifically today on how your niche initiates the systems in your business. So Dave, take it away.
Thank you very much, Kyle.
Thanks for being here.
Appreciate it. I'm honored to be here. You guys are the leaders of the leadership group. So thank you very much for taking your time out of your day to be here to chat a little bit about systems in our business. My name is Dave Glaser. I began personal training completely independent, self-employed from day one over 4 years ago. My mom was my first client, so I kind of bred my coaching style. How do you train your mother? Well, your coaching philosophy comes into play. You got to be very gentle, right? Cannot be a force to be reckoned with when you're training your mom. My studio is a private facility inside of a jiu-jitsu gym in the heart of Denver, near 8th and I-25. I have a team of 2 trainers here in Denver and 1 in Chicago. She is my exclusive online personal trainer. So she helps me run the online programs in Chicago. It's been a wild ride so far. A little bit about my niches. 25 to 40-year-old women who want to begin a resistance training program safely, online and in person before noon, because I don't want to work evenings. So I have to get very specific there. And then also the personal trainer who wants to either get out of a box gym like 24-Hour Fitness, Lifetime Fitness, and start their own business with their own clientele, or somebody who just got their certification and they say, well, now what? So these systems that we'll cover today were bred out of trial and error, yes, of course, but developed over the course of 4 years and refined by just repeating and repeating and repeating and repeating. So I need one volunteer. But before I ask for a volunteer, who in this room has a macro map for their business? Raise your hand.
Yeah.
Okay. Keep your hands up. Keep your hands up. Now, going back to that passion of what we were talking about before, getting things off your plate, who's passionate about drawing macro maps for their business? No one, right? So, except for me.
Just Peter.
Except for me and Lori. That's right. So I would like that volunteer. We're going to actually workshop your business and create your macro map today. In front of you, you have a blank sheet of paper. Follow along, and if you haven't worked on your macro map in a while, please feel free to create your own macro map with me as we go through this. So did I get a volunteer who's going to participate with me? Who's willing to open up their business?
Tyranny will.
I'm not going to do it. I'm snacking.
You're snacking.
I kind of have one, but I don't mind doing it again.
Thank you. That's perfect, Peter. I appreciate it. So tell us a little bit about your niche and who your hedgehog is.
So
You want them?
I'll
Come on, man.
we actually have a couple different ones. Well, I'll pick one that I haven't really mapped out separately. So we have a brand called Assisted Living Marketing, domain assistedlivingmarketing.com, and we provide basically soup to nuts marketing services for assisted living communities. So they could be a small 8-bed residential home to 65-bed memory care unit.
Awesome. Thank you, Peter. That's awesome. So your hedgehog, your niche, establishes a needs analysis for the business. Like when you're serving people or serving another business, your first step is pretty much a needs analysis. Is that correct?
Yep.
So what we're going to accomplish today I want to illustrate what our end goal is. So here's my macro map. This is for my personal training business, and this is what we're going to design for you and your businesses today. Step one, what's your purpose with assisted living marketing? That's what I got right, okay? What is the purpose?
Our primary purpose is to make it so they can generate their own leads. So that's the main number one goal that we have for them, is lead gen.
Okay. Awesome. Now, what I've learned, I do want to go back. Sorry about that, guys. What I've learned in 3 to 5, in the 1 full year that I've been with the group, is that a lot of different niches in a lot of different industries are in the same room talking about their businesses. And we can all relate on one level because Chuck says no business is really that different from the next. So I want to describe it a little bit. I'm going to use my business as a roadmap for your business, and your business, Brian, and Tierney, your business too. So that's how we can all workshop this together. So my purpose in my business is to impact as many lives as I possibly can in fitness and nutrition through systems-based coaching. Everything in my personal training business and is systems-based. It's a process. We've got to start in one location in order to get to our final destination. And when we paint that picture for our clients, much like you want to do for your clients, that's our roadmap. That's how our clients get to their goals. We've talked about needs analysis. So where do I begin? And this begins the macro maps process that eventually leads to the micro mapping of your businesses. So in my particular business, step number 1, I meet a potential client. Sounds simple, right? Mm-hmm. Peter, in your business, is it similar?
Yep.
You meet a potential client.
Yes.
Step number 2. So that would be box number 1. In the upper left-hand corner of your blank sheet of paper. Okay? Step number 1. Trainer meets client. Step number 2. What service or product does your niche need immediately, Peter? Why would they come see you?
It varies a little bit, but usually it's, the website's broken. We're not getting phone calls from web leads.
Right.
Usually somewhere in that.
Their hot topic is lead generation, right?
Yeah.
So what are they looking for from you? Are they looking for expertise, service, coaching, or all of the above?
Almost 100% they want services done for them.
Okay, good.
Yep.
Awesome. And what is that key factor? When you meet your potential client, what is the one thing that it would take for them to set a meeting with you? How would you impulse them in order to do that?
Well, typically when they come in, so I do a lot of speaking and training on the front end. So I've already basically established that I'm the expert.
Okay.
So I typically don't meet with somebody unless it's really a referral from a good client, or they have some understanding of who I am and what I do.
Awesome. Very good. And we could do this with a lot of different ways. We could do it with a lead magnet. We could do this with a 30-second story. I love short and sweet. So if I meet somebody in a social situation and they're a potential client, they're my ideal client, they fit my systems, then I'll tell them where I've been, where I was, and where I'm going with my business. And then we want to set that one-to-one meeting. So myself as a trainer, I invite my potential client in for a consultation, or what I call a transformation session. And this is your step 2. Do they book with you personally? You got your calendar out in front of you. You've got their calendar out in front of them. Do they book right there in person, or do they go to your administrative assistant? Do they go to your website and book that way, right? So now we're moving on to step number 3, right? Excuse my penmanship.
Hey, Dave, is number 1 the buying conversation, or is number 2
Nope.
the buying conversation?
we have to meet the person first if we're in a business to client relationship. And even in a business to business relationship as well. We need to meet that person who's in charge. Right, Brian?
Yes.
Yeah. Because if you don't get to the person in charge, you'll never set the meeting. So step number 1, Kyle likes to call them dominoes, right? Step number 2 is my consultation. It's my transformation session. Step number 3 is, will this be a face-to-face meeting, an email meeting, or a telephone conversation? In my business, I can eliminate email because fitness and nutrition is so personal for so many people. They need to have a connection with another person. Probably why when we were talking earlier that my CRM is not my passion, because it disconnects me from my client. And it makes my close rate go down, right? And then we're just playing the numbers game after that. Excuse me?
Does connect.
It does in a different way, right? And
What is number 2 again?
number 2.
Booking the meeting.
That's correct.
What's the one?
It's an invitation.
Invitation.
I can't just book the meeting. I actually have to ask for that. It's part of John Maxwell fans in the room? Everyone? I love John Maxwell. So we have position and then we have permission. I'm in a position as a personal trainer to become the expert in my client's eyes, but I need their permission to actually meet with them, right? Otherwise, we can't get beyond step 2 in order to get to step 3. So the client, this is our first differentiating color. Notice that that's green means go. My client is ready to go. They book via my online schedule system. One, I need to know that they can follow simple instructions by going to the website and actually booking. And I need to know that they're systems-based minded. So if they can't figure out my schedule system, then they're most likely not going to figure out my online training system either.
I'm glad I became a client before you figured all this out. I've been kicked out.
It's self-selected.
Your grandfather did now.
I think so.
Okay, so step number 3 can be interchanged with client says yes to the agreement or to the appointment. This could be done in person. This could be done by email, right? That's how your niche initiates your system. My niche is a little bit different than yours. My needs that person-person contact, and it also needs to be able to book via the system to know that they're the right fit. Now, our client has come into the meeting, whether that's face-to-face or we got on Zoom or we got on the telephone. What's the first thing that we need to do with that person in that initial meeting? Peter, just really quick, what's the first thing that you want to do?
The first thing that I want to do, if I don't know them, obviously I need to get a better understanding of who they are and their organization.
That's amazing. That is the perfect answer to that question. We want to build a relationship with that particular potential client so that we can build rapport and trust and become even more of an expert in their eyes. So in my particular case, I welcome the client at the front door and I give them a tour of my facility and I offer them water. It's a purely welcoming environment. I want them to feel like they're at home. In a jiu-jitsu gym, things can get loud, things can get busy, there's a lot of people in the room, but we have a shared co-working space and my clients know that. And that's okay with them because it's more private than say like 24-hour fitness or lifetime fitness, right? So I love talking about the macro map, but the macro map initiates the micro map as well. So this is the first step on my very first micro map as well. We need to answer the call to becoming that expert in their eye. We need to answer all of their questions immediately, right? So this is my very first micro map. It is tucked in with step number 4. My team, if I wanted to record one of those videos and share with them how to do a transformation session or a consultation, I couldn't just simply say, well, it's step 4, right? So I need to have behind that label on my macro map, the micro map as well, so that they have access to that without my help. We need to answer the call to address our niche's needs and their pain points. Familiar with pain points, Peter? You're speaking my language. In my particular case, convenience, time, knowledge, stress, energy are my client's pain points. I need to address these issues in the very first initial consultation, and that's part of my macro map. Convenience on location, time in their schedule. My ideal client is a busy, whether it's an entrepreneur or a busy mother or a busy corporate employee, they need to have that time in their schedule. So as long as I address that pain point, whether it's before we set the consultation or during, then I'm well on my way to getting through my macro map. I briefly showed you the process for this initial meeting. It literally is broken out minute by minute by minute, what to do when, so that it's duplicatable. My team needs to be able to repeat what I've been doing for 4 years to grow an exponential business for themselves too. And if I teach them to do this, then everybody wins, especially the client. Can that come into play in your business as well, Peter?
Yeah, I kind of have a standard set of questions and information that I know that I want to capture and gather with each new client. So,
Are those written down with your team having access to them? Awesome. Good. So again, our businesses are not so different from each other, even though we're in completely separate niches in a separate industry.
Can I ask you a question about your business? Are you strictly local or do you do regional and national clients?
we have clients from Colorado to the East Coast.
Okay.
Awesome.
So when you're scheduling appointments with them and establishing the trust,
It's almost always via web, almost
Okay.
always anymore.
And if that applies to any of your businesses, that would be part of your system that's a little bit different than my own.
Right.
And your niche in your industry establishes this domino effect. Well, step one, we have to get through step one in order to get down to step 5, which is where we're at now. And throughout the process, throughout coaching the team members that I work with in person and online, I want them to question those systems too. Hey Dave, we cannot get our ideal client onto a Zoom meeting, but we can get them onto a WhatsApp. And that's how we can connect with our client. Absolutely, guys, you want to rewrite the system, it's your daily method of operations, or abbreviated DMO. It's your DMO, so I want you guys to be in charge of that. I'm not on a Zoom meeting. I'm not closing that client because they're your ideal client. You know how to talk to them because your systems are in place. Within this process, within the consultation, I'm continuing to build rapport with my potential client, and I'm giving away as much information as I possibly can in a short amount of time. This is invaluable information that will actually help them get their process started. They came to me for answers. They probably come to Peter for answers. They come to Mariella for answers. So I want to provide those answers. And we're talking like deep nutritional conversation, like when to eat carbohydrates. We talk about that in the initial consultation because it's on the forefront of their mind. It's one of their pain points. It's convenience and time. How am I going to prepare my meals around my workout program or my workout system so that I get the best results? That question is first and foremost. They don't know it's there, but for sure it's there. What to eat when, exercise program, and how to stay consistent. Coming back to that macro map. It's in everything that we do. Step number 6. How do we close out that initial meeting? Peter, what is it like when you ask for the sale?
So now for us, it's a little different because we have an extra step.
Okay,
Because
all right.
We have a proposal. There's usually always a proposal because based on what I learned, I may not be able to have something I can go, here's what you need right now. So there's usually an extra step of a proposal and then the yes.
Awesome.
Just
So-
one extra step.
So the proposal kind of is asking for the sale,
Yeah.
correct?
Yeah.
It's your own way of asking for your potential client for a little extra permission.
Yes.
Do I have your permission to lead you on this journey? And then we bill the client on your terms and on mutually agreed between you and the client, right?
Right.
So the client says yes. Everybody in the room gets a yes every single time, right?
Sure.
Sure. Kyle knows where I'm going with this. What happens when we get a no? And I love branching out on a macro map because it allows us the flexibility to coach our team to duplicate what we're doing, right? The flexibility occurs. Normally I draw this as red because it's a stop sign, but it's not a stop sign. I could actually make that green. I like to think of a no as a not right now, or an opportunity to ask clarifying questions. What do you mean? What do you mean by you don't have time for exercise? What do you mean you don't have time to prepare your food maybe the day before? Like, if I wake up and I haven't prepared my lunch for the next day and I have to be at work at 6 a.m., oh my gosh, you wouldn't believe that my system-minded behavior, my system-minded routine is just freaking out. So I want to calmly ask my client, my potential client, what do you mean you don't have time to prepare meals? If I were to guarantee you, if you spend an hour or 2 hours on a Sunday that preparing your meals for the week, you would save yourself 5 to 10 hours of time throughout the course of the week. That's a clarifying question that I want to ask when a client says no. What's another way, Peter, that a client could say no?
They could not give me an answer at all.
Ooh, brutal. So the fortune is in the follow-up, right?
Yeah.
So we follow up. I like to think of another way of hearing a no is yes, but. Does this seem like something you can do 2 to 3 days a week? Yes, but. And we come back to the pain points. Time, convenience, where do I begin? That's knowledge, and then price. It's always going to come down to price, right? Tierney? Yes and no, right? So it's our job to build value for our clients and customers. And that's our opportunity to work with a no. Okay? So I'm going to ask clarifying questions, and if you need a book recommendation, check out Go for No. It's phenomenal. It's how no's are kind of like a roadmap to a yes. And we're continuing down this section of the process map that has to do with overcoming objections. Everyone has an objection. So our goal is to get through 4 objections. Peter, what are common objections in your niche?
They're all kind of dumb, but we don't have the money right now, or which it could be money. It could be
we don't have our content finished.
yeah. It could be there's something missing, or it could be we're getting ready to hire somebody else, or we're just busy right now because of whatever. So it's not the right time.
Awesome. So they're similar, right? The convenience of working with you, the time to actually work with you, and the flexible income in their business, the cash flow, in order to afford your services.
Yep.
And these are all objections that we can handle, right? Yes, but we want to get through 4 of them in order to get to step number 7. So I'm going to draw a little bit different pathway on my process map because the client said yes. And we're going to kind of, we're going to double up on how we work our way through this map as well. Closing out the initial meeting. We're going to ask for the sale again, and this is going to be a softer close. Let's get started next Tuesday. And I guess that's a little bit harder, isn't it? Then, do you think that you can do this 2 or 3 times a week? Is a soft close. This is a little bit harder close. Let's get started next Tuesday, and then we'll come to the next objection. Our following steps in this process map is to book the appointment for accountability. in my particular business, it's all about booking the appointment with yourself as my client so that you hold yourself accountable. But ultimately, it's my job to hold you accountable to show up to that appointment you booked with yourself. If it's in your calendar, 7 a.m. Tuesday, Thursday, you're most likely going to show up Tuesday, Thursday at 7 a.m. Even if it's a 6:30 a.m. breakfast meeting with your club, if it's in my calendar, I'm going to make it there because I have an address, I have a time, I have an intention on actually making it happen for myself. Once we've accepted payment, Peter, we deliver what we promised. The training systems or the coaching systems that I offer. And for that increased level of commitment, do we need to put in a step in our process map to have the client sign a commitment letter?
Yes.
Yes. Why, Brian?
Well, good contracts make for good relationships.
Okay, good. Awesome. And
It's a commitment.
you're furthering asking for more permission from the client.
Right.
So within overcoming objections and within asking the client for permission, we're deepening that relationship and we're deepening the rapport that you've been building with your client in step number 3 through 7. Questions about that? I love interaction, so please feel free. Good to go? What's the next step? Let's keep moving forward. So the next step in the process after that initial meeting, we're booking appointments regularly for accountability. No one's going to get to their goals in that first meeting after our initial consultation. Right, Peter? It takes time?
Yep.
I ask my clients for a 3-month commitment. At the end of that 3 months, if you haven't gotten results, then we need to look at what's behind the scenes. What's going on behind beyond the surface? Is it actually my program? Is it the service that we were delivering to you that didn't pay dividends, that we didn't get results? And then we go back to the drawing board and we figure out how to get those clients results. Interchangeable between your business and my business, correct?
Yep.
So the client purchases, I love the fact that this is green. Peter, you have a response to the proposal that you send out. Is there a link to pay or deposit?
Yeah, we'll just send an invoice.
Awesome. So we send an invoice, and then the client gives you even more permission, deepening that relationship by paying their bill. And that, in a way, Brian, it's like a commitment letter when they pay their bill. However, to deepen the relationship and to deepen your position, because we've moved beyond position now to permission, to deepen your position as their leader or as their service provider, when they pay their bill and they have a commitment letter, you're going to get better results from that client. Guaranteed. Every single time. Did I draw my step 8? I didn't. Step 9. Now notice I'm snaking across my page to keep my process maps simple, right? We're doing this quickly and we're workshopping this together, so this rough draft, it's not the finished product, and I see exactly what happens in the initial stages of drawing our process map. Kind of gets a little disorganized, but before we present it to our team, it's steadfast, right?
Right.
It's streamlined, and I'm snaking across my page to get to step 9. We're going to actually deliver our service here. We've delivered them the systems. I've given my potential client, or I've given my client, because now they've paid, I've given them their process map. And when Mariella mentioned I left 3 to 5, I went home, I drew my client process map, and I asked the group for feedback on it the next day. Because there was a piece I was missing. And Chuck gave us that advice to give the client a process map. This is what you're going to do as my client in order to get to those results. Because this is a participation agreement. Like, if you don't work out, if you don't do the nutrition piece, you won't get to your goals. And then we have to have that evaluation process at 12 weeks. We need to dig deeper. What's going on? What's happening? Is it me? Is it you? Is it us? Is it our relationship? Let's figure that out. But in my particular case, I need to coach them up and deliver as best customer service as I possibly can. And in Peter's case, follow up to get the yes, or to get that permission from your particular client. Trainer provides excellent service on a consistent basis. If we're not consistent, client won't be consistent. Truth or false? True? Okay. Getting a lot of nods. Step 10. We've made it through our 12-week process, or our first stages of serving Peter's niche in the marketing industry. Now we have to ask for the next step. Ours is based on time. Sorry, Tierney, I'll step out of your way. Ours is based on time because time is of the essence when we want to get fitness and nutrition results. If we delay, and if we procrastinate, and if we come up with another excuse, then no one gets to where they want to be, from where they started on that roadmap to where they want to be on that roadmap. So our clients and our team ask for a 12-week renewal every 3 months. Boom, 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 boom. And based on the results, the client will most likely say yes. But what if they say no? Well, now we come back to 6A. Right, we ask clarifying questions. Kyle, you're not a systems-minded guy, but you're following along. Pretty simple, right? Ask for a 12-week renewal for an additional 12 weeks. What do we do when we hear no? Ask clarifying. This slide looks familiar, doesn't it? It's identical to the one during our sales process. Because, was it Peter or was it Brian that said at the beginning, if you become a personal trainer, you are sales and marketing? Was that you, Peter? Right. That's a true fact. I talk with trainers all the time they're just saying over and over again, I want to work with as many clients as I possibly can, but I don't want to sound salesy. Okay, let me teach you how not to sound salesy by asking a soft question and then a harder question and then finally the most poignant question. What are you willing to give up to get to your results? Are your clients willing to give up a little bit of free time to get to their financial goals by doing your process? And we got to ask them that. How committed are you? Are you willing to give up this? Beer, pizza, burgers, fries. Are you willing to give up those things in order to reach that 12-week goal? And maybe it's a year-long goal. We need to clarify what's going on in their life. And again, this slide looks pretty familiar, doesn't it? So I left you off step 10. What if we hear a no? Right? I'm simplifying a complicated process for our team, and I'm making it duplicatable. I got a no? Well, what do you mean? You don't have the time. What do you mean you don't have the money? I just saw on Facebook that you went to Puerto Rico. Oh, but I got a sick flight and I got a sick B&B. That's awesome. You need vacation. I'm speaking to my client right now, right? You need a vacation. You need rest. It's part of our program. Remember that process map at the beginning? I told you to rest 2 days a week? Yeah, we need that rest. But unfortunately, will Puerto Rico, just using you, Peter, is Puerto Rico going to help you to get to your goals? I know they're going to help you get to your goals because you're going to come back rested and refreshed. But we're talking specifically about fitness goals, right? In my particular industry. What do we do when we hear 4 no's? This is very important because it's not a lost cause. We come back to, it's not a no, it's a not right now. They were willing to give us a time on a Zoom call. They were willing to give us time on a phone call from across the country, DC, New York City, Jersey, Orlando. They're willing to give you the time to listen to what you had to say. So if they're willing to give you that much time initially, and it's just not the right fit for them because I'm a systems-minded guy, and maybe my client is a market person, they're like, well, I have completely different roadmap to get there. They don't know that it's a roadmap that will help them get there, but we're just not clicking. We're not jiving. We're not the right fit. So I have 2 choices. I can give them a no. Unfortunately, it doesn't seem like you're the right fit for my program at this time. But I do have a trainer over here that works with your niche, and you sound like the perfect fit for her. Can I introduce you to Jess? Can I introduce you to Mackenzie? Can I introduce you to my trainer in Chicago who loves training people online? Does that sound like the best fit? So I could ask her for a solution, him or her, or I could ask for a referral. They were willing to give you their time initially. So I guarantee if you did the process correctly, they're going to be willing to give you a number as well, of a friend, of a family member, or somebody that's on their heart that needs a little bit of fitness and nutrition in their life. Speaking from my point of view, Peter's point of view is a little bit different. Who needs their marketing needs taken care of? Who needs a funnel from ClickFunnels? Go see my boy Peter. Right? Ask for the referral. Do we even have a referral program or a referral credit to incentivize them to give us that name? Because a new name is worth something. I'd rather ask somebody who already believed in me enough to sit with me for an hour for a referral than going out and spending money on traffic to get a referral into my funnel system. That's worth more to me than anything else. So we put a value to that. Yes, you do. Absolutely.
I also add for mine is, can I follow up with you in a month and just see where you are?
Sure.
My current client I just got took 6 months of follow up. Relentless.
The fortune is in the follow-up. It's not a no, it's a no right now. Not right now. And that's a prime example of gaining somebody's trust, asking them for permission. Hey, can I follow up with you next month? You know, I went to Dallas and I rode with a couple of different Uber drivers. Uber drivers are naturally chatty. They're self-employed. We can relate. We can have a good conversation with them. They're service-oriented because they always have a bottle of water in their car. I think that's part of the gig, isn't it? At least it used to be when they first started ride-share programs. They had a bottle of water. So the one driving us to the airport is extremely chatty. Guess what? She wants to be a relationship coach eventually. She's getting up enough cash flow in order to leave her corporate gig by driving for Uber. I love hearing a story like that. It makes me think, I got to get her email address and connect her with Kyle. That's what it makes me think. But we get to chatting, and we're talking about my business, we're talking about her business, we're talking about Sarah's business, branding specialist, etc. I'm fitness and nutrition, and she wants to be a relationship coach. Well, it turns out we had so much in common that I got her information, and I said, can I call you at 6:15 tomorrow night and have a follow-up conversation? She's now a nutrition client online. Today. I asked for permission, just like Laura did, to have that follow-up conversation. So we've come up with a simple system on time. We've simplified a macro map for my sales process. Because I didn't necessarily intend to get into the fitness industry to become a salesperson. But along the way, I found out that I have a passion for teaching other personal trainers how to do it in a non-salesy way. And if I can leave a legacy in fitness and nutrition by coaching other trainers to do this exact same process, then I've reached my lifetime goals. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Appreciate you.